Bienvenue tous. This is our International Press Review today with Catherine Spencer. Catherine, take it away.
Right, well, first of all, I wanted to start with the strikes. Yet again, France's transport unions appear to have finally called off the strike. They said that they've agreed to suspend the strike while negotiations go on. There's a photo in Le Croix showing the kinds of scenes that Parisian commuters have had to be putting up with recently. The Daily Telegraph in the UK talks about how it's a victory for Sarkozy, and the fact that the death throes of the strike show that he's managed to triumph over the unions. The Figaro says something rather similar, that the headline says the success of the Sarkozy method.
So that's the Telegraph in the UK, very right-wing newspaper. The Figaro,
Absolutely.
Of course, the Sarkozy hymn sheet, basically praising Sarkozy, just for a change there, as you'd expect. But there you go, no surprise there, I suppose.
Yeah, so they're saying, the ABC, the Spanish national, is also saying the same thing. It's saying that, Sarkozy's won the first round of the fight for reforms, and it's largely because he's got the public support on side. The Liberation, though, France's left-wing daily, has got a rather different take on things. It's lamenting the fact that, not the end of the strikes, but it's certainly saying that the impact of the reforms are going to hit Parisians and hit the French in their pockets. It's going to reduce their spending power. The tax cuts that he's making are only going to widen the inequality between rich and poor, so they're basically saying it's a very black day.
So a different assessment there from the left-wing daily Libération, as you might expect, but certainly different views there of the French dispute as it's been going on and coming to an end after 9 days. So tomorrow your commute to work will be slightly better, hopefully.
Let's hope so.
What's next, Catherine?
OK, well, next it's the US presidential elections.
Right.
They announced the dates for the primaries yesterday, which means that the candidates are going to be fighting it out amongst themselves to represent their various parties. Now, the Australians got a rather amusing article about the fact that while the first primary is going to take place in New Hampshire, it's South Carolina, which is where the real dirty tricks campaign's taking place. Apparently, it's a key state for Republicans there.
What's that? One claimed Hillary Clinton was having a lesbian affair with somebody. What's all that about?
There's been all sorts of scurrilous accusations that have been made, but apparently it can get really quite brutal. And with 4 people from the Republican Party look set to go head-to-head to try and win South Carolina.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that wouldn't get in the press in France, because France has a different kind of approach to one's personal life. But I mean, even if that were true, and if it is true, who cares? But it's one of those
I certainly
things,
wasn't going to go too much into some of the accusations that have been going around.
I mean, if they're making those kind of accusations, I think, it's absolutely dreadful.
It's vicious, and it's only going to get worse at the moment. Now, the New York Times, on a slightly different talk, has done the columnist Gail Collins has done a presidential wish list. She says what we can learn from the Bush administration to kind of help us choose our next candidate. And she says that there are very specific things to avoid, like loyalty. She says that valuing personal relationships over competence aren't a good thing, as Bush proved, and so really you want someone who can push their granny under a bus. And she also says that physical fitness is a disadvantage. She says you want to avoid another chief executive who can cause chaos in the Middle East, but still consider it a good week if he's had a chance to do 20 miles on his trail bike.
That's a slightly ironic editorial there. Finally?
OK, now we've got the Herald Tribune, which has got a picture of a homemade methamphetamine lab. Apparently,
there it is there.
Yeah, apparently, while heroin and cocaine are still the biggest, the most abused drugs in Europe, this is a growing trend. It's highly addictive.
Yeah.
It's very cheap to make. You can make it. Apparently, the ingredients are found in common cold medicines, and particularly in the Czech Republic, they're struggling. They're struggling to control these homemade labs, which are apparently producing enough for large swathes of Central Europe. So it's sort of a growing problem at the moment.
OK, Catherine, thank you very much. Obviously, a bit of a serious note to end on there, but certainly an entertaining press review as ever. Go out and buy a paper. We've inspired you, I can tell. Thank you, Catherine. Stay with France 24.